and slightly unrelated here, but there were some issues last night at the Trump rally. Can you kind of comment about that? I mean, some people got hypothermia, some people got lost, had to walk miles.
Yeah, so I heard about that this morning. I wasn't at the rally. I heard about that, and then I know the mayor's office has been getting a lot of calls about that as well. Mayor, did you want to address that?
Certainly. That event last night was organized by the Trump campaign, as all political rallies like with the presidential campaign are. Our Omaha Police Department have essentially a mutual aid agreement with the United States Secret Service. And so they provide mutual aid in these when the president comes. Our Omaha Police Department is there to protect and serve, and they go where they're needed. So that's why they were there last night. Everything else, all the logistics that happened last night, were organized by the Trump campaign. As you probably know, it was originally supposed to be in a hangar, and because of COVID, they made the decision to have it outside. Chief said earlier that usually when we know that there's an event that's going to happen and we see how many people are estimated to come, it's usually about 25% of this. Well, they estimated about 10,000 people last night, and they security checked 22,000, and then they left thousands outside the gate that never got in. So they estimate about 29,000 were there. The Trump campaign had 40 buses, and that 40 buses were, they picked that number because they thought that that is the amount they needed to transport 10,000 people. Of course, now you're talking 29,000 people. And so there was a delay at picking people up. It was very, very cold. I was there. My feet were frozen. A fireman actually gave me his turnout jacket to wear because it was so cold out there. But it is true. A lot of people did not get taken to their cars by bus immediately. I was told this morning by the governor's office that a lot of people walked some miles, but all those that were waiting for a bus eventually got a bus and were taken back to their cars, but some had to wait up to 2 hours to do that. But I think it's really important just to say that this was not a city organized event. We're getting quite a few calls saying, how did I let that many people come out there, etc. This was all arranged and coordinated by the Trump campaign. We don't have any authority at all to restrict any political candidate from having a rally here. And when the president comes, it's a big deal. And you know, they come with the Secret Service. The Secret Service are there to protect the president, and they were all there. We were also there to add any additional help that they needed.
And did you guys have a pre-planned meeting? I mean, I know you said that the Omaha police were involved with the Secret Service. Were you actually in contact with the Trump campaign?
No, I was not at all. It was all arranged, like I said, with the Trump campaign and the state Republican Party. And the state Republican Party was involved to the point of helping with some of the logistics and offering volunteer help. And so most of the entire event last night was arranged by the campaign itself. And as you know, a presidential campaign, they raise millions and millions and millions of dollars to do events like this. So they pay for the buses, they pay for the audio and the screens and everything. That's what they do when they go. I think the president made 3 stops yesterday and more today, and those are all arranged, organized, the logistics, everything by the campaign itself.
Well, what did you think when you heard that some people were taken to the hospital with hypothermia?
Well, I couldn't understand why. I couldn't walk across the tarmac afterwards because I actually had the shoes I have on now on there, and they weren't very warm. My feet were just frozen. So I know some people that I talked to, they were there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were outside the entire time. So it was a pretty cold night. I know the president made comments about how cold it was, and but a lot of those people had been there 5, 6, 7 hours out in the cold. So yeah, that is a big concern. Again, it was supposed to be inside a hangar, in that private hangar, and they made the decision, the Trump campaign, to move it outside because of COVID, and of course then that opened it up for people to be outside a long time in the cold. So that's unfortunate that those things happen. Any other questions for me about that?
Yeah, Mayor, you might have these numbers, I'm not sure from your office, but I mean, can you confirm people were hospitalized for hypothermia?
No, I don't have any of that information. I tried to get it from the governor's office today because I felt like that they were more involved in the planning of this event. I tried to get that information, and they did not give it to me this morning. So I'm unaware of how many people were hospitalized.
Okay, it's Michelle from KTV again.
Thank you,
FYI.
Michelle.
But Mayor, maybe you can get with Omaha Fire and confirm for us later, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and we want to get it correct. If people were actually hospitalized or if they went to urgent care, how many people this happened to?
And some of them weren't transported by Omaha Fire too. Some went on their own.
Okay.
So
you know
some
people did go to the
some went on their own, that I was told by the governor's office. Some went on their own. I don't know even if OFD transported anybody at this time. So we'll find out about that.
Thank you. And then can I ask Chief Schmaderer, we had heard, like I said, we want to get all this confirmed. Were officers actually picking up people and giving them rides to the bus stops or to the parking lots, to their cars? We had heard that there was, kind efforts like that made from your officers. Can you confirm that?
Sure, we helped out. I mean, the officers that were there knew that it was a transportation shortage going on, and that people were called that were cold and needed help, and we helped where we could. Absolutely. So our role kind of transitioned into being assistive on that front.
And would you happen to have those numbers as to how many folks you took to their cars and parking lot?
I don't know if we've got those numbers compiled. If you could get with our PIO office, they might have some data for you on that.
Do you have, sir?
Go ahead.
Do you also know, in your arrangements with the civil service, your mutual aid agreement, and they were predicting 10,000 people, and if we're saying the total number is 29,000, how many of your how much manpower, women power did you have at the beginning, at the end? Did you have to call in more troops to help
Right.
out?
So the way it works is when the Secret Service will contact us and they'll ask for mutual aid, and then in good faith, the Omaha Police Department will assist with the dignitary protection. No matter who is in office, I want to make that clear. We got the same requests when President Obama was in office. We handle it in good faith as we do with the President Trump. And then we base our staffing and numbers based on what the need is and where the situation is. So this was on Eppley Airfield property, and their police department was the lead on this, and we were more of a supplemental. When it occurs in Omaha, it takes up a lot more staffing. I don't have the exact staffing numbers with me right now in my memory bank. A lot of on-duty staffing we used. There was some overtime, and then of course when we felt the need, we would bring more on duty to the situation, to the scene.
So you did have to bring in more officers as the night went on?
We did bring some extra down there, yes.
Can we get Able One's video that they have above, if they have some of showing all this? If that's possible?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they were even there. Did you see them there when you were there?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay.
I was just asking if they had it. That'd be great. They weren't there?
Okay, so let me check, Michelle, and see what we have, and then I have to check and see if we can actually release that legally, but because it is a presidential issue and things like that, so I don't know what the legality. Right, with restricted airspace, I'm not sure what the legality of all that is.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Anybody who's watching, thank you. Want everybody to have a good day.